Hello everyone, welcome back to Okay Martini, I should say. We've had a little bit of a, how do you say it, hiatus?
Hiatus, yeah.
Yes.
Hiatus.
But now we're back to talk more about, anal fissures and prolapses and things like that. As usual, I'm your host.
Just girly things.
Just girly things, concrete enemas, that kind of crap. No, but yeah, anyway, so I'm back. I'm Sarah, and
I'm Sophia.
She's
Hello.
Sophia. Hello. Hey, guys. What's new? Tell us things. Tell us what you've all been up to. That's fucking interesting. Thank you for telling us, guys. But anyways, back to us, because we're the important ones here.
We're the stars of this show.
We literally are, though. Like, this...
That's true.
But yeah, so it's been a while since we've recorded anything. Not for us, because we talk literally every day. Even if we don't talk a lot for a day, we at least send some kind of signal that the other one's alive. At least every day. So yeah. But yeah, so it's been a while. Basically what happened is Sophie had her thesis. Well, you're still doing it as we're recording this. I'm probably gonna upload this today, but yeah, and I got mono, and just out of nowhere, I just got mono, and then I was in the hospital, and then I went to stay with my parents because they were like, "Oh, your spleen's inflamed, don't move," and they didn't say it like that though, But yeah, pretty much. So, we just kind of had, a month off to, in Sophie's case, be productive. In mine, not so much.
I mean...
But you went to France. How was that?
Yeah. It was good. It's nice to relax for a bit. Only for a week, but I felt like when I came back, I was I feel like I've been gone for months. I don't know why.
Yeah, you've been working a lot. You don't give yourself enough credit, man. You've been, rise and grind every day.
Rise and grind. Epic morning routine.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I got it from. No, but anyways, things have been, relatively mellow for me. Pretty mellow, I'd say. The only reason I say relatively is because I decided to fucking clean the kitchen today. Because, honestly, I let it go to shit. And it wasn't that terrible. But anyways, so I was, gonna fully clean it up. And, man, it took, 3.5 hours. I even did, the inside of the fridge. Fuck. But it looks so good. I'm so happy. It makes me want to cook. Which is funny because cooking is the reason the kitchen gets messy for me. I made 3 loaves of bread over the last 2 days. Pretty much there was something I was thinking about that I wanted to talk to you about, but I literally just so you started Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
So have you finished the first and second episode?
No, I finished the first episode, and I'm I was 20 minutes into the second episode. And
Can we talk about the first episode, please?
Okay, yeah.
Sorry. It's just... Okay, there's going to be Twin Peaks spoilers, just for, Season 1, Episode 1, but I'm in love with Twin Peaks. It's by David Lynch. I recently forced Sophie to watch it because I would not shut up about it. And so I'm just really fucking excited. So please just tell me what you think. I'm dying right now.
I liked it. Okay, at first I was this is gonna be one of those stupid
yeah, because Riverdale was inspired by this.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, better be good, I guess. And
Betty's mom is Shelley, by the way.
Yeah, I noticed. I was like,
that's one of the main reasons they put her in Riverdale. I think, if I'm not wrong. I'm sure it is, at least. Even if they didn't
went downhill, man. What the fuck?
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, sorry, tell me. I just get so excited when talking about like David Lynch and stuff.
No, I really liked it. It's very well. I only watched the first episode, right, and like a bit of the second one. But so far, I like it. I'm gonna keep watching it. Like
that makes me so happy. Like I don't know, cause like I mean, it's not everyone's cup of tea, which I get. Like, you know, everyone has different tastes, but there's like some stuff where like people can like as groups of people with different tastes agree on. Like Twin Peaks is one of those things where it just really depends on your taste, because like, for example, my dad, although my dad's a terrible example because he watches Big Bang Theory and he finds it funny. Like, I first heard of like them canceling it from him. He was like, Sarah, I'm so upset they're canceling Big Bang Theory. And I was like, bro, what? Can I like abort myself, you know? But yeah, and he was like, oh, I started watching it, and he only made it through 4 episodes. He was like, oh, it's so slow. And I was like, what do you, they found her wrapped in plastic, she's dead. Like, what?
Wrapped in plastic.
Yeah. No, god damn. I get
crime dramas.
Yeah, me too.
But also, it's like they have such like the dialogue sometimes is just so like weird as well.
Yeah, in Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
I love that's like it's done. I think it's like done on purpose. Like, at least I don't know. David Lynch, he's such an amazing director, and he's such a great writer. You know, I always thought that like this guy does like some LSD or that kind of shit, but apparently he gets his inspiration through getting a sugar rush.
Oh, okay.
He was like, yeah, it's like there was like an interview he did, and it was like, oh, like I go to a coffee shop and I order like a milkshake and I empty it like with sugar and like I fill sugar in it and like, or like I put like a ton of sugar in my coffee, and then I go on this like sugar buzz and I start writing, and I was like, fuck. Like, everyone's like, oh, if I was part of this like Facebook group called Chaotic Cinema, and yeah, that makes me sound really pretentious, but I loved it so much. It was like they talked about my kind of movies and stuff like that, and there was like such fun discourse. But then like there was whatchamacallit, like there was someone asking about like how to boost creativity, and I was like, oh, like that's actually a really good question. Like, you know, I've got like writer's block, and like so many people were like, oh, you need to expand your mind, try hallucinogenic drugs. And I was like, bro, what the fuck? What the fuck? Yeah, like, it was like the weirdest, and it wasn't just like 22-year-old like male like film students who were saying this. It was also like 43-year-old like single dudes. You know, the ones who are like, oh, I'm not creepy. I'm just cool. I respect you as a woman. And it's like, bro, that's even creepier. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know that brand where it's like, oh, I'm old enough to be your dad. Haha, baby. You know, those kinds of people. Yeah. But so many of those, like, this one guy commented, like, take acid. And I thought it was a joke. Like, so many people thought it was a joke. And he was like, and then this like 40-year-old guy commented, was like, actually, I think he's being serious because like that's the best way to expand your mind. Trust me, I've tried it before. And it was just like so weird, and it was like all these dudes just like saying, oh, look at us, we're so cool. Like, I don't know, it was weird. But yeah, so David Lynch like gets his shit done like with the help of sugar, which is like insane because I was sure this guy's on drugs.
Yeah.
You'll see what I mean like the more you watch Twin Peaks.
Okay, yeah.
Like, it seems, like, strange now already. Like, it does already seem strange, doesn't it? Because, like, the first episode's, like, feature length. But
yeah, I was like, it just... a long-ass episode. But
yeah, that's his thing. He does it, like even season crazy? 2. Tell me, yeah.
Like, usually I watch something and I'm doing something else while I'm watching it, kind of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, like, I couldn't... Like, I was watching it, and I was like trying to draw, and I was like, I need to focus on this. Even though,
my god, that's so like.
I don't know, like there's only.
But that's actually really good in a way.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, aside from like being a sign that the show is good, in my opinion, it's like it's also like I don't know, with David Lynch's stuff you can miss stuff so easily. Yeah. Like that's what I really like. It's not made for dumbasses.
Yeah, like
you need to have a higher IQ to understand.
Rick and Morty fans, like.
Yeah.
No, I like Rick and Morty, but like that's what their fan base is like. But it's like when I watched Mulholland Drive and then I fell asleep like at one point because I was watching it in bed, right? And I had to go and rewatch the whole fucking film because I was like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah, Mulholland Drive's not like the best linearly.
Yeah. Literally, I was like, wait, what happened? Why is she this now? What the fuck?
Did you finish Mulholland Drive, by the way?
Yeah. I think I.
You know the scene with her like jerking off while crying? Yeah. That was really weird the first time I saw that. I was like, what?
Dude, the movie is weird, and then I realized that like, okay, should I not?
No, you can spoil it, guys. There's gonna be spoilers.
Like that she's like that was like her imagination or what? Like her good life.
See, that's something that really pisses me off about David Lynch. He never explains any of his movies or anything. Like, they ask him and he's like, oh, well, you understood what you understood from it. And it's like, dude, this is infuriating.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know if she, like, imagined that or, like, that's how her life was and then she, like...
The thing that I take away from it is I don't try to come up with a logical reason because it's, like, David Lynch's... His brand is surrealism, you know? So, like, in my head, it's just, like... It's, like, sort of like a looped timeline. Almost.
Okay.
Cause some of, like, the stuff sort of, like, to me overlaps. Like, I don't know, maybe they're on the same... This was, like... I don't know, like, it's almost like... This is gonna get super pretentious, guys. So, there was this thing that I read. It's a theory by Nietzsche called the theory of eternal recurrence. Now, I didn't understand this really properly, so it's kind of how I've understood it. When it's, so basically it's like, oh my god, I'm shouting. So basically it's like, there's like multiple timelines, sort of like the multiverse theory, like parallel universes and stuff. There's multiple versions of the same timeline. And in this, and in Mulholland Drive, two of these kind of like overlap, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like she becomes Diane, then Diane becomes like Betty becomes Rita, etc., you know?
Yeah.
That kind of shit. So that's how I see it. But like I said, like when I first read about like eternal recurrence, I still don't understand it. So this is like my understanding of it. So yeah, I don't know. I don't like shit to make sense. So I think that's why I'm fine with it. No, but it's still infuriating. Like I totally get you. Yeah.
No, like it's a bit. It's not really. I'm just like I just want to understand. You know what I mean? But then he doesn't want, like, he just wants you to think how you, like, interpret how you want to interpret it, right?
Let me tell you something funny. The more you watch it, actually, the less you understand. Because the more you watch it, the more you notice stuff you didn't realize before.
Yeah, okay.
But then at the same time, you're like, wait, what? That's the beauty of it. You're left in the state of, like, wait, I get it. No, wait, that doesn't make any sense. You know?
Yeah.
Like, one of my favorite David Lynch movies is definitely Lost Highway. I mean, I like everything by David Lynch.
I need to watch, like, Blue Velvet.
Blue Velvet's really good. Lost Highway is, like, one of my favorites. Hopefully when you come to Milan, we can watch it. Or, like, whatever.
Dude, yeah. I'll come.
You do it. That sounds like it's, like, the saddest threat. Like, you should not be one of those, like, you know, what's it, like, the hostage negotiators from, like, the FBI where they talk and they're like, hey, guys, you know, I don't have a weapon. I'm not gonna hurt you. And it's like, the guy's like, dude, just shut the fuck up. I'm gonna shoot this bitch. I'm sorry.
Wait, that's what I sound like?
No, just now.
Okay.
The second one.
Okay, good.
The sad hostage negotiator. Hey, come on. Just let go of the hostage, man.
Yeah, I would just be, like, so blunt, like...
Yeah, you'd be, like... You know, you don't want to get tough with... Yeah. What's the name of someone who takes hostages?
Like...
bad person. Wait, what did you say?
Criminal?
Oh, okay. I said bad person. You, sir, you're under arrest for being a bad person.
Bad person.
This is why I didn't go into, like, Law and Order. Solely this reason.
Yeah, only because you call criminals bad. a bad person or bad.
A bad person.
I mean,
literally.
they are bad people. They're like,
well, yes, true. I was watching, like, this is, like, really off topic. I'm pulling a Joe Rogan. I've been watching a lot of Joe Rogan recently also, but the guy's, like, an asshole, and he's a terrible listener. I don't know why I watch him. But some of the guests he has on, like, they're pretty cool. But anyways, basically, this, like, random video came up on the channel's, like, recommended, and it was called Forged in Fire. And it's a show by the History Channel. Like, I remember before when the History Channel had cool shows. Like, even the Discovery Channel. Now it's, like, weird versions of reality TV. And they're like, oh, science, oh, history. Total bullshit. Yeah. But basically, it was called Forged in Fire. And they bring, like... I don't know what the word for it is. Blacksmith? Metalsmith? Whatever. Who make knives and shit. Oh, yeah. And they make these, like, knives and weapons. And, like... It's so intense, and they have this, like, kill test, which is so dumb, because, like, I don't know, like, all the time, like, only twice has someone's, like, weapon not killed, and the reason was because, like, maybe, like, the handle broke before they hit it, but, like, if you still grab the blade and stab the thing, the thing would die. And I think they just do it for views. Like, they just take, like, an animal carcass, and then they stab it, and then there's, like, this really weird Filipino guy who goes, your weapon will kill. And it's like, I don't know, it's so weird, but I've been, like, serial watching all of the episodes where they test out, like, the weapons. And it's like, they do this, like, strength test where they just, like, stab, like, different shit, like, a bunch of times. The sharpness test is, like, pretty cool, but, like, I don't know, they change it up, like, for each weapon, so it sort of, like, is related to the weapon. Like, they had this, like... Algerian sword, and like the stuff they had was like related to like the era the sword came from. So like for the sharpness test they sliced fish, you know, for like the kill test, like they put like the what's it called, the armory, yeah armor the armory the armor of like like Algiers soldiers and shit like that. And I don't know, but it's just really weird. And it's like the same thing every episode. But like I couldn't stop watching it. Like I was just watching like one segment after another. Just like continue. Like I just couldn't stop. But it was all literally the same. Literally everything was the same.
They just make a weapon and they just... like,
yeah, and then there's this like panel, and like they're like, oh, let's see how sharp it is. And they show like, I think in the actual episodes they show the process of them making like the knives and stuff. But like the main part, like that they win, like they go through to the next round. It's kind of like MasterChef but for knives and swords. I'm not even kidding. Is that they do these tests, so that's like the main part of the competition. But it's, like, literally all the same. It's so weird. Like, even the stuff they say.
It's, like, how well you make the weapon?
Yeah, and you need to follow, like the parameters and everything. Okay. Yeah, exactly. And it's I don't know, it's just so weird. Yeah. I just felt the need to get that out. It's something that you just get the need to, what's it called? Confess.
Confess?
I've confessed.
Confession. I watched this weird show.
I have to make a confession. I have to. I
have to declare this.
Okay. I have to declare my allegiance to the crown of, I don't know, Portugal. Okay. Let's go to Portugal, dude. We're like right now. Let's end this episode and go straight to Portugal. Look for Madeleine McCan.
When is your permess already?
Like mid-May. May 15th. No, May 15th is like my appointment to go to get like fucking fingerprinted. And then God knows like when they'll give it to me. I'm probably gonna like, I don't know.
This system sucks.
I hate it so much.
Okay, we talked about this way too much.
We talk about this, I'm sorry, but this is one of the realities of fucking living here. Like, until we live here, like, you guys, our lovely audience, are going to have to endure us just bitching about, like, the whole Italian, like, visa system.
It's so fucked. But speaking of Madeleine McCan, I just want to say, I'm sure she's not in Portugal anymore. Yeah. She's probably like...
Let's talk about this Madeleine McCan case, you know? I think yes. We should, because we love true crime. We talk about this shit all the time. I don't know why we hadn't started talking about, like, true crime stuff earlier, but... You know what? Take us through it, because, like, you got me into the Madeleine McCan case. Begin.
Yeah, okay. So, basically, Madeleine McCan was, like, 3 years old when she went missing. Her parents, and...
In, like, what, 2004? Was it? 2007? No.
Yeah, I think 2007. Yeah, 2007.
Yeah, 2007.
So it was the summer of 2007, and her parents and her two brothers, they were in Lisbon, or no? They were like in some
in Praia de Luz.
Yeah, they were in this town.
Yeah, in the south of Portugal.
Yeah, and it was like a apartment complex, resort sort of thing.
Yeah.
And and like one they would go with their friends to like a tapas restaurant every night.
Yeah.
And they would leave like a door open, like the patio door open or something, or the balcony door open.
Yeah, so whilst they left the kids in the fucking house.
And this complex, it's not like gated, like it's like
it's like it faces the street.
Yeah, and their apartment like was right next to the main road, kind of.
Yeah.
And the tapas restaurant was, like, not that far away, but there was, like, a pool in between, so it was, like...
Yeah, and, like, the entrance to it, you have to, like... You can't go through the middle where the actual resort and pool is. You have to, like, go through the main street. So you have to, like, leave the whole resort area, walk down the street, then go into... Like, they're like, oh, it was only 500 yards away. But it's, like, 500 yards view-wise. Like, if... They said that if you get up to, like, go to the place, it's, like, 180 yards or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's, like, a totally different way, and you won't be able to see, like, the house whilst you're walking in. Anyways, back to the point.
Also, it's not gated, like, anyone
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, yeah, so they said that, like, they check up on the children every half an hour.
Ooh, sorry.
So, and the other friend, their friends also had, like, kids who they also checked up on, kind of. So every half an hour, the parents would go... check up on the kids and go back. So clearly, like, whoever would kidnap or had the intentions to kidnap a kid, they would know, okay, they just came, so
they know, like, their
pattern,
schedule.
Right? Yeah, they would see the pattern. So basically, do I explain in detail or just briefly? Because,
yeah, go ahead in detail. Well, you can give the brief, and then we can just, like, break it down and jump into our theories.
Basically, the way they found out that Madeleine was gone. Okay, first, one of their friends was, like, gonna go check on his kids, and he was like, oh, I can check on Madeleine for you, too, to the mother, to Kate. And she was like, okay, sure, thanks. And he just, like, said that he just, like, you know, looked inside and, like, he didn't, like, see if they were actually...
Yeah, he was, like, the door was partially open, and he just looked in, and he heard them, like, quietly rolling around or something. He said something like that, and he was like, so I didn't look inside.
Yeah, so...
Which was also a weird detail to me, like, thinking about it. But anyways, yeah.
I guess, like, he's like, oh, maybe they're, like, waking up, so, like, he didn't want to, like, I don't know, something. And then, later, Kate goes to check. Kate is the mother. She goes to check, and she sees that Madeleine is not there. And the window is open, right? The window is open. Because, like, the door slammed, like, you know, when the window is open and, like, another door is open and it just slams.
Yeah, I think in her account, like, she said that she didn't, like, walk inside. She sort of opened the door, but then, like, the wind, like, caused the door to slam. So she was like, oh, I should enter.
Yeah. But also, okay, that's another thing. Like, apart from the thing where, like, the police searched the whole area and the kids were asleep, how does the slamming of the door not wake up the kids? Because...
exactly.
When you have the slam of the door, like... That's very loud. You know,
yeah, it's, like, very loud. It's not, like, someone, like, walking around or whatever. Like, sure, there are, like, kids who, like, sleep at, like, parties or, like, you know, family gatherings and shit like that. But when there's, like, a loud, abrupt noise... Like,
a sudden noise, right?
They would wake up.
Yeah, which... That's another, like, theory. But, yeah, so she doesn't see Madeleine. And then she just, like, runs out, leaves her two twins who are, like... 2 years old.
Yeah, the 2-year-olds. She just dumps the 2-year-olds, runs into the street and starts. Yeah,
just leaves them there. Runs into the street, starts saying they've taken her, What did she say? They've taken her?
They've taken Madeleine. She's gone.
Yeah. They've taken her.
Yeah.
So,
keywords, they've taken her.
You know, yeah. And then... So they go back to the restaurant. She goes back to the restaurant. All the way back. Runs all the way back to the restaurant.
Yeah, leaving the two kids. After having the suspicion that her daughter's been abducted, she leaves the two 2-year-olds alone.
Like, so stupid.
Yeah. Now, okay, so this is just basically how Madeleine McCan is found to have disappeared. Let's break the story down, beginning from when the mom went to check up on them. Let's begin our analysis from that.
Okay.
Because, I mean, I at least believe... This is like a terrible thing to say, but I at least believe that there is no way that the parents were not involved.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of different things, but we're gonna go through that. We're gonna take our sweet time. By the way, my friend's birthday is at like 9:30, so I have all the time in the world. So but yeah, so basically, so the mom goes to check in on her kids, and she looks inside, and anyways, so the door slams, and she's like, oh, this means that the window's open. So she looks inside the room, sees that Madeleine isn't there. So what she does is she runs out screaming, they've taken her, Madeleine's gone. So, you have 2 younger brothers. Well, you have 3 younger siblings, but you have 2, like, much younger brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, when you can't find one of them, like, instantly, no matter what time of, like, night, like, day or, like, night or whatever it is your first instinct, oh, he's been abducted?
No.
No.
Like, my first instinct is, like, where is he? Like, is he hiding?
It's you call. Like, you call the person.
The name. Yeah, that's the first thing that I do, like, or we do.
Yeah.
Because my little brother, he always hides, like, like, randomly he just hides, and we're like, where the fuck is this guy, you know? But we just say his name. Or, like, we ask, like, whoever's at home, we're like, did you see him? Like, where did he go?
Yeah,
we
like,
don't say, like, they've taken him.
They've taken him. He's been abducted. Not like, oh, he's, like, gone to the bathroom or, like, whatever. Like, if he wasn't at home, you would think, oh, no, he's wandered off. You wouldn't think, oh, no, he's been abducted. Like, the first thing you think of isn't, like, unless you have, like, some kind of, like, PTSD or, like, panic disorder, your mind doesn't instantly jump to, like, oh, you know, the worst case scenario. Yeah. And I always think of the worst case scenario, but, like, I don't know, like, when stuff like this happens, I don't think, like, oh, can't find my mom, she's not at home, she's abandoned me, and she's died, like, you know, like, I don't think that. Yeah. Like, that only happens when they can't find her for 2 hours. You know?
Yeah.
It's happened
That's
once.
The thing. It's a bit weird worded. Like, she worded it weird.
But also, like, they've taken her. Madeleine's gone. So, okay, so that's point 1. Point 2. So she thinks that Madeleine's been abducted. Okay, let's stick to her story. You think your daughter's been taken, and you abandon your 2, like, 2-year-old twins in the room? You don't know whether, like, the guy... Like, wouldn't your first instinct as a mother to be, oh, like, let me make sure all my kids are okay?
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
Yeah, you know, exactly. Like, unless she was sure that the twins, you know, like, wouldn't wake up or whatever. But that still doesn't make any sense. Like, what does it have anything to do with, like, an abductor being in your house?
Yeah, like, wouldn't, like, I would... Okay, say that I thought that she was taken. Like,
yeah.
My daughter or whatever the fuck. First, I would check the fucking apartment. Okay, first I would, like, check it on my kids, my other kids.
Yeah.
I'd check the apartment, and then, like, call or wait in their apartment. Maybe my husband will realize,
yeah, I would stay at home and call.
Yeah. She's been gone, maybe something happened, you know?
Yeah.
Like, not run all the way back to the fucking restaurant and be like, guys, like, my daughter...
BT dubs. Put the mimosas down, Bethany. Shut up, Karen. But yeah. And then she runs and she tells them. Okay, so another thing is that, like... like, what happens after? Like, they go to, like, check everywhere. Yeah, like, everyone, like, before calling the police, they just run to check everywhere. And, like, whilst they're, like, running around the house and stuff and looking, the twins don't wake up at all. Which, like, to me was, like, really weird. But, like you said, like, some, like, your brothers, like, would sleep through anything. Like, some kids, like, really can't sleep through anything. It's just, like the loud, sudden, abrupt sound. That would definitely wake up a child.
Yeah, exactly. Like, the door slamming, that's weird to me. Like,
yeah, that would wake up your child. Yeah, and, like, maybe they fell back asleep, you know, if they'd woken up, like, that I'd get. But anyway, so, like, there's a whole bunch of people. But they also said that when they were handing the babies to other people, they didn't wake up or they seemed groggy. Like, they said that. Like, in the police report.
Crazy,
like, yeah, that was another thing. They were like, oh, like, when you hand kids, like, to strangers who they don't know, like, they would be uncomfortable. You know?
Exactly. Like, a kid would react. Especially
yeah, exactly.
Such a young kid.
Exactly. Like, they don't have a concept of, like, oh, let me be polite. They're gonna be like, stranger danger. You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
Anyway, so, like, then what happens? Then the police, like, they look around, they don't find anything. And then Madeleine, then this woman is like, oh, I remember when I was going to check up on my kids. Yeah, she was like, when I went to go check up on my kids, like, this was around, like, what, 10 p.m.? Because I want to sort of establish the timeline. Yeah, I think it was, like, 10 p.m. She was like, oh, 10:05 or...
no, it was, like, 9... wait. Yeah, 10. 10.
Yeah, 10.
Yeah.
She's like, 10 p.m. She's like, I went to go check up on my kid, and they were like, the streets were really narrow. She saw, like, Madeleine McCan, like, Jerry McCan, talking to one of, like, the resort, like, one of the guys at the resort, while she was walking, like, to go check on her kids in, like, their house. And she saw this man holding a small child, like, that, like, had bare feet and was, like, asleep in his arms, just, like, walking away with this child in his arms. And
but,
she was like,
pajamas,
oh, yeah, like, pink pajamas and stuff, blonde hair, like, just, like, sort of, like, Madeleine McCann's description. And then, but, like, when the police asked, like, the dad and, like, the resort goer, they were like, oh, we were never there. There was no way of us to know. Like, we never even said hi to her. Which, that I also find really weird. Like, why would... this woman make this thing up?
But the thing is, like, the weird thing to me is she brought it up later. Like, after,
yeah, she was like, oh, by the way. Yeah, she was like, oh, by the way.
Like,
which,
that's also really weird to know, like, on the day, but okay, dude, you know?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That also makes me think that the parents may have had involvement. Maybe Kate told her something, and she had to make up this guy up, or make this guy up, or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So, I know, that was also, like, a weird thing. But also I was thinking that, like, if she didn't make it up, necessarily, like, maybe, like, Jerry was there with, like, this other dude who was involved talking to him, like, to make sure that, like, the abduction or whatever, like, happened, what's it called?
Yeah.
As going to plan, like, he was sure that she was gone. So, like, by the time they went for the second checkup, because, like, if, like, we were talking about this, and we were, like, when they sent their friend to go check on Madeleine, it was to give them an alibi. So no one can say, oh, you actually took her when you went to check up on her. And she was like, oh, well, the last time I looked, she was there. And then our friend looked, and he said she was there. And then when I went to look, she wasn't there. You know? Like, the only explanation I have is, like, the kid was, like, gone by that point. Like, you know?
Yeah, and also because their friend didn't look inside, like, very, like...
Yeah, exactly. Like, she could have been gone, like, before that. And they were, like, checking, like, every 20 minutes and yeah, but it's, I don't know, it's such a strange case because it wasn't just, like, they did, like, what was it? Like, after, like, a while, they found, like, they brought, like, corpse dogs, like, what are they called? Like, cadaver dogs. And, like, blood sniffing dogs and stuff like that. And they smelled traces of, like, human blood and, like, a cadaver in, like, the trunk of the McCann's car, in their closet and behind the couch.
I believe they rented the car after Madeleine went missing.
Yeah, after Madeleine went missing. Yeah. Like, unless, like, they're renting cars from someplace that's, like, you know, Murders Are Us.
Yeah.
Fucking, like, every single car has, like, a cadaver sniff to it. Like, what are the odds? You know? Like, it just feels way too, like, weird. You know?
Yeah.
And also, like, aside from that, like, you pointed this out, the way Kate McCann talks about her daughter is really unsettling.
Yeah, it's very gross. Yeah.
It is actually gross. Like, that is how I would put it. Like, oh god, like, okay, just some trigger warnings for anyone uncomfortable with this type of, like, subject. But, like, in her book, like, what did she say? She said something like, oh, like, she's thinking like, about her perfect little genitals
being torn apart.
Like, who? Like, oh my god. I understand, like, you know, if you have sort of, like, intrusive thoughts and shit like that, but, like, what?
Yeah,
who thinks about stuff like this? And the entire book is, like, about her sex life.
Yeah, she was like, our
she's like, oh, yeah, me and Jerry won't, yeah.
Yeah, she was like, our sex life has been, like, you know, struggling or whatever. And I asked him if he had the same thoughts as I did about Madeleine. Like,
yeah, like you jump from that straight from, like, our sex life. Yeah. By the way, our daughter's like that's so. Yeah. It just, and every time they describe the daughter, they never say anything like, oh, like, she was so sweet, she was so, like, you know, she was so fun, she loved doing this. Like, if you look at, like, other videos where, like, sort of kids have gone missing or whatever, you can see, okay, sure, people, like, grieve differently, but just some things, like, they always said, oh, she was so beautiful, she was so blonde, she was, like, blue eyes. They just talk about her in, like, a really weird way.
Just about her appearance, like,
just about her appearance, nothing else.
Like, parents talk about both, kind of. They say, like, oh, she was such a
it's not like,
girl, but she's such a sweet girl as well, like, you know, like,
yeah, exactly.
About her personality. Like, at 3 years old, sure, like, you're not, like, you know, your personality is not, like, amazingly developed, but you do have a personality.
Yeah, like, you know, like, my grandma, she lost her, like, her daughter. So whenever she talks about, like, my aunt, of course, she talks about, like, because apparently my aunt was, like, really hot, rest in peace. She's always like, oh, like, you know, she was so beautiful, she was so, like, you know, tall, but she would always, like, say, oh, she was also so smart, she was such a lady, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's, like, the thing she focused on. And, like, whoever, like, I knew who talked about, like, someone that they loved, you know, who had unfortunately passed, like, they either talk about, like, memories or how they were. Like, they don't focus on the appearance, like, nearly that much. Like, I've seen a fucking interview of a woman who had, like, a stillbirth, like, unfortunately, and she was showing more emotion to the child she never met than, like, the McCanns do.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, this kid was not born, and this woman is like, you know, and then there's, like, the McCanns, oh, like, she was really beautiful, you know, well, hope she's okay, read my book about my sex life, like, why?
Literally, like...
Yeah, they've stopped the sale of the book now.
Well,
because of, like, backlash and shit, if I'm not wrong, like, you can only buy it from their website now, I think.
Dude, there's still, like, the government or whoever the fuck, they're still funding this case. Like,
yeah, like 1.3 million pounds.
Yeah, like, I'm not
It's been 12 years.
It's
been 12 years. That's a little, like, I understand that you don't want to, like, you know, lose fit. Well, I mean, look, okay, sure. Like, people can argue and say that we're not in their position. We don't know what it's like. No, we don't. It is a terrible thing, but it's just a little. You have 2 other kids. They can't be benefiting from this psychologically.
Exactly.
Like, there's no way this is good for your 2, like, kids. Sure, they're, like, 14 now, but, like, if this is, like, the state they've been under for, like, the past 12 years, they can't have, you know, matured emotionally very well.
No, exactly, like, can you imagine, like, your family, like, just pay attention to one of your brothers or sisters, you know what I mean?
Yeah, who's not there anymore.
Who's not even
and
there.
You're, like, 2 years old. Like, you don't have, like, a sort of concept of that, you know?
Yeah. like, I get it that they want to find her and whatever, but, like, just being realistic here, dude, it's been...
But it's not even that, it's just, like, logically thinking, like, wouldn't you say... I mean,
No,
sure, we can't imagine, like, what they're going through, but, like, don't you have, like, 2 other kids? Like, they were 2 when, like, this happened. Like, I'm sure they need, like, a lot more support than you guys just constantly doing fucking press conferences. Like, you get paid to go for, like, interviews and shit on TV. So they're just, like, making money off of this.
They paid their mortgage with, like, I'm not saying they shouldn't have, but it's like...
Yeah, like, okay, sure, like, you're getting money, but it's kind of like...
And they're, like, they're doctors, so they're not, you know...
Yeah.
They're not lower class.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I just feel
like...
like...
the dad's a fucking, what's it called? Consultant cardiologist. Like, that fucking pays well.
It's just, I think, if a fraction of that funding went to other missing person cases...
Oh, definitely.
Maybe they would, like, others would be solved, because...
Yeah.
They're
the ones who called the first press conference. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, they did. That was one of the weird things when everyone was like, it was one of the things that people were like criticizing them. They were like, your daughter goes missing, so the first thing you do is you hold a press conference. They called the press before they called the police. That's why the entire place was crowded with, like, journalists and stuff. I know, that's what it said on Wikipedia, at least. And that was so crazy to me. Because I was like, what? And you remember, like, they kept saying their justification was that they wanted to keep her face posted everywhere in case, like, you know, she's to be found. But also another thing, if they didn't, like, back to your point of saying, like, you know, it's been 12 years, whatever, there were cadaver dogs. Like, I saw the videos. I sent you the videos of the cadaver dog sniffing.
I watched it, yeah.
They just, like, ran around and barked wherever they could smell, like, human body remains. That could have been there, like, a month ago and stuff like that. And...
they're specifically trained for that.
Yeah, they literally do not bark unless it's, like, near, like, blood or cadavers. Like, where a cadaver's been. And, like, so even if they didn't, like, they weren't involved... When the cadaver dog sniffs around your house and barks, you wouldn't think, oh, someone else died in this house before us. Like, unfortunately, that is like when you jump to the worst case scenario, because you're already thinking to yourself, oh, geez, this is already really shit. Oh, no, the cadaver dogs, this must mean that, like, my daughter died, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, that's also, like, a weird thing to me. Like... You wouldn't say, oh, you know, it's nothing. Like, wouldn't you as the parents be concerned if cadaver dogs, like, sniffed around your house and, like, barked when your daughter's been missing? I would be like, oh my goodness, what does this mean?
Exactly, I would be like, unless
like, who died here?
Else died here, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what? And, like, and also, like, the trunk of their car, would they not, I just kicked the microphone. Would they not be concerned, like, if they didn't do it, like, wouldn't they be like, oh no, what is going on? And apparently they didn't answer the police's questions. Remember, like, I found, like, the list of all the questions? And she didn't answer any of them. And it was like, what? She was like, I didn't want to incriminate myself. What?
Yeah, if
your daughter's missing, and the first thing you're thinking is, I need my lawyer here before I can help the police find my child. Sure, even if you're innocent, you should always have, like, a lawyer present if you're being questioned by the police or whatever. But, like, in this state of emergency...
Like, if you had nothing to do with it... And
yeah, why would you be afraid of something?
Then you wouldn't... Yeah, like, there would be no...
Like, unless you thought from the beginning that the police might... Because, like, I would understand that someone saying, oh, I don't want to answer them, because maybe they will actually, like, try to pin it on me. But that's, like, when you sort of have an idea of, like, oh, no, they think it's me. You know?
Yeah. Because, like, the Portuguese police, like, did think they were suspects. Like,
yeah, they did. And then, like, 2 years, they were like, oh, we're sorry, you're not. But I was like, what do you mean? There's so much evidence against them.
Yeah, there is a lot, and that's not, like, for me, it's like, even if they didn't do anything, neglect is at least, like, you know.
Yeah, literally, like, it's the minimum.
Like, yeah, like, a 3-year-old and 2 2-year-olds, are you kidding me?
Yeah, exactly. Like
in a
what?
foreign country. Like, what? Like, yeah, my parents used to leave me and my brother, like, in our apartment. But, like, it's an apartment that, like, you know, we live there. It's not a foreign country.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, I get you. Like, I totally get you. It's just, it's ridiculous. Like, I mean, it just infuriates me so much because it just feels like the parents are like, it just to me feels like they're making money off of this, you know?
Yeah, exactly. That's
like it just feels like even if they didn't do it, even now that's only what it feels like, that they're just fucking making money off this. Like, for God's sakes, like the fucking like Ridgeway killer, if I'm not wrong, like he like like they demoted, like they tore down like the task force for finding him, like, because it was like a cold case for like 5 years, like they weren't able to find anything, but it was just like almost like 30 corpses of women were like found around like this similar area, and like Ted Bundy even like helped them try to find him, and then like through luck they found him. But you know, like that went like cold, but it was like a serial killer that was like active, and they were like, oh, but we're not finding anyone, just like reduce like the people working on this. But then there's this case of this child missing in a foreign country, presumed, I don't want to say presumed dead, but like, you know, cadaver dogs went off like in different places relating to the girl. So that sort of, you know, whatever.
Like, there is like a certain time when like a missing person is presumed dead. I don't remember how many
Yeah, it's like
years.
7 years.
Oh, okay. So, but is she presumed dead? No.
I don't think she is presumed dead, because I think like the parents
still keep,
like I don't know, but it just, I mean, I don't know, and like in a way, like we're not in that situation, we can't like imagine like how people would react, but just like logically speaking about several things, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Like okay, so should we get into like some things?
Yeah, we can get into it, man.
Okay, so the first thing that people like really thought about was the sleeping pills that they gave their children.
Oh yeah.
Like the two twins that they were asleep, whatever. Like after all that.
Yeah.
And some people thought that maybe they gave like Madeleine sleeping pills, but then they maybe gave too much to her or something.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like they're doctors. Like I'm sure they know like the dosage that they can give.
Yeah. Know? But then that's also something to me that's like, you know, they're doctors, they know what dosage to give. Yeah. If they just want to like knock her out for like a long time without like fully killing her. You know, so someone else can come and take her.
Yeah, it could have. But the thing is, like, to me it's like, why would they like do that? You know what I mean? Like, did they sell her? Did they like, I
mean, but she mentioned that in her book. She was like, oh, my beautiful daughter with like, you know, like blonde hair, blue eyes, like white skin. She's like, she would be such an attraction for these like rings of like, wait, what?
Yeah, what the fuck?
Like, it made me uncomfortable. Like when you write a book, okay, she wrote it. You write a first draft and then you proofread it and you write a second draft before like you send it to your publisher, and they're like edit it. So you have to like read this thing like a couple, like at least like a few times. And you're telling me like she wrote that kind of shit and just talked about her sex life and was like, yep, I'll just put my daughter's face on the book, I'll name it Madeleine, but I'll just talk about me. Like, is that not weird? Especially, you know, one thing that's weird to me is she quit her job before they went on like the vacation, like for a while. Like, she was working part-time as like a GP or something, which is like weird. I'd never heard of someone working part-time as a doctor. It probably is a thing, but I don't know.
Like, as if she knew that she was gonna get like a big.
That's what I'm thinking, because like they went on vacation like in the middle of the year. You know, it wasn't like a summer vacation where the kids were off school and stuff like that.
It was like early summer.
Okay, it was early summer, but they were saying it was really weird because it was like a group of like 8 doctors. Like, how were they able to get like that time? Like, it's a pain. Like, my mom's a doctor, and like, honestly, like, she can't like organize like half her trips like in time. Like, she would at least have to like do it at least like a week before or like 3-4 months before. Because of just, like, how everything works. And they're British, like, doctors. And everyone knows the NHS is, like, a fucking mess. You know? So it's, like, that's also one thing that was, like, weird. And, like, she had quit her job. Like, she wasn't working anymore. And that was also something that was, like, really weird to me. It's like, oh, the husband who had the better job, he's still working. But she's not anymore. But they have 3 kids.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And then they go on this just, like, random vacation. Like, the amount, like, the money her husband, like, was earning didn't increase or anything. There wasn't anything talk about that. But she quits her job. Then they go on this, like, random vacation with, like, 8 other doctors who somehow managed to get time off their jobs. And then, like, they go away and then just mysteriously the daughter disappears. And they start just making so much money.
It's just, but also, like, do you think the friends would know?
I don't know, honestly, because, like, wouldn't the friends question it? Like, wouldn't the friends be like, oh, what are you talking about? Like, what do you mean she's been taken? Let's just look around.
Yeah, exactly. Let's just, like, call out for her or whatever.
Yeah. You know, so, like, I don't know, maybe, like, a few of them were involved. Like, maybe that woman who was like, oh, I saw, like, a man walking and Jerry and stuff, maybe she actually saw it and she was, like, so distressed by everything that was happening that she was like, oh, my God, like, I can't believe I saw, like, because at the time maybe she thought it was, like, a very insignificant thing, you know, but then all of a sudden she was like, oh, my God, I found this. Jerry's like, no, what are you talking about? You didn't see that. What are you saying? That's how he talks, isn't it? Madeline is truly Madeline. I really don't like Kate McCann. She has such a punchable face.
I don't like her. Like,
I really don't like her. If they're innocent, we're sorry, guys. This is just like conspiracy
disclaimer.
Theories.
Like, at the beginning, we have to put a disclaimer.
Yeah,
like,
we have to put a disclaimer.
Allegedly, just, like, don't sue us, please.
Yeah, this is just gonna be. This is parody talk. This is not
all opinions.
We're not defaming anyone.
This isn't slander.
This is not slander. This is
slander. Kate McCann.
Kate McCann. This is not slander. This fucking bitch.
But they're a bit sketchy. Like,
they're very sketchy. They're really creepy.
The thing is, like, the resort, like, offered a fucking nanny service, and they offered like a kids zone. And if you go on a holiday and you have the money apparently to go on this random holiday, why the fuck wouldn't you pay someone, like, instead of, like, also, like, maybe you can relax.
But yeah,
and, like,
also the majority.
An hour, like,
yeah, the majority of the time, they left the kids alone in the kids center and stuff. Yeah. Like, I remember, like, reading that on, like, the Wikipedia. They were like, the majority of the time, they weren't with their kids. Which is, I don't know, it's so weird to me, because, like, when you go on a family, like, I understand, like, parents want to have their own time, like, sure, even, like, with my family, like, when we travel and there was, like, kid stuff, you know, like, we'd go off there, but, like, a lot of the times, they'd be like, okay, let's do something together as a family, like, you know, it's, like, a family holiday, you know, or, like, they'd reserve, like, their time alone for, like, night times, like, you know, when these people would go to the fucking tapas bar, you know, tapas.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, if they use that, like, kid facility, why didn't
they didn't use, like, any nannies and stuff.
Yeah.
That's so weird, like...
Just a thought, you know? Like, instead of maybe going every 30 minutes, maybe hire someone who...
Yeah, like, doesn't that make more sense? Like, if, for example, if it's, like, you can't afford it, then just, like, don't go to the tapas bar. Like, eat something at home,
or
you know?
At least, like, close all the doors and windows. Like, they left the fucking patio door
open. They were like, oh, we don't want to wake them up when we enter. What?
Well, they didn't wake up when the fucking door slammed. Like,
yeah, exactly. Like, they were like, oh, we don't want to wake them up, like, when we walk into the house. And it's like, oh, but wait, so, like, what? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
Like, who says, let's leave... What parent says, let's leave the door unlocked so the kids don't wake up when we come home? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, that's so stupid.
Like, even if your parents, like you said, like, they left you alone, it's not like they left the door unlocked and said, bye-bye.
Exactly. They locked it, like...
Yeah, hey, bye, fuck off. You guys just learn to do your own shit.
I mean,
But yeah, it's like, it's a strange... I don't know. Honestly, like, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, what? Oh, I just kicked my microphone
The more
again.
I think about it, the more I'm like, Kate.
Yeah, sorry, she's like, even if Jerry, like, okay, disclaimer, we don't mean it, guys. This is just, you know, if you guys are listening, big fans. Yeah.
I love your book, Kate.
Same.
Love it. It's a great book.
Same. Can I get it autographed? I want it next to my autographed copy of the Bible. No, but she's just shady, man. She's just weird. Like, yeah, there was this like TED Talk video where someone was like explaining how you can tell when someone's lying, and someone had like put it together with like clips of Kate McCan in interviews, and I was just like, oh my god, this bitch is lying. Like, it was insane. Yeah. It was so crazy. I don't know, or like,
I just don't know why.
You McCan't.
I can't.
I'm a can't.
Oh my god. Kate Mac couldn't do. Sorry.
What the fuck?
I don't know. I'm just like, this case, like,
Kate McCann, get a hallelujah up in here.
Oh my god.
Kate's a weird name. What's it short for? Catering? Like...
Catherine?
I know.
Like,
I know. It's just a bad joke. Imagine like naming a kid Kate. They're like, oh, Kate, is that short for Catherine? She's like, no, catering.
Remember someone asked me, like, oh, what is Sophie? It wasn't you. What is Sophie short for? Madison.
No, it wasn't me. What?
Someone asked me once, oh, like, your name is Sophie, what is it short for? And I was just like, fucking Madison.
It's like those fucking, like, brown people who are like, it's like, oh, hey, what's your name? Oh, my name's Ricky. Oh, what's it short for? Abdullah. What?
Literally. All the Egyptians in my university.
Like, okay, I get, like, having a name, but you're like, okay, some people can't pronounce this. But, like, give it a try. Yeah. Maybe I can pronounce Abdullah or whatever. And it just makes, like, people... Oh, my God. But also, they do this in Italy, too. Where they, like, they introduce themselves with, like, an English name. Like, there was this... there was this guy in my class who... His name is Francesco. And when I first met him, I was like, oh, hey, nice to meet you. And he was like, hi, you can call me Frank. And I was like, oh, Frank, where are you from? And he was like, I'm Italian. I was like, oh, he was like, yeah, well, my name's actually Francesco. And I was like, oh, who calls you Frank? And he was like, you can call me Frank. And I was like, who voluntarily says, yes, call me Frank?
Also, like, you can call me Frank. Like, you in particular.
You only you, bitch.
It's
no one else.
To you.
It's reserved. Oh my god, this is really unrelated, but for some reason saying Frank made me think of my dad. My dad has been bugging me about starting a podcast with him. And it's so weird, because me and my dad, we have, like, not to say we don't have stuff in common, we do have stuff in common, but, like, we don't
He likes
don't
Big
talk.
Bang Theory.
He like Big Bang Theory.
I'm on holiday, okay.
I'm holiday. But, you know, it's like, it's a genuine thing. Like, he's like, and he was asking me, and I was like, oh, okay. And, oh my, I don't even know, like, he kept, like, me and my dad, we have nothing to talk about. Half the time, it's like my dad talking, me saying random bullshit, or just me in total silence. Like, there's literally, like, it's go big or go home with my dad. I either don't say anything at all, or I just talk about, like, random nonsense. Like, one time before an exam, like, I was sitting with my dad, and we were in total silence, and I decided, hey, you know what, let me talk to him about, like, these, like, psychology studies that I'm studying. And out of all of them, I decided to talk to him About the one about a guy who gets his dick burnt off during a circumcision accident.
Great.
So I just began talking to my dad about this guy and his burnt off dick. And, like, in the end of, like, the story, like, he ends up killing himself. And I was, like, telling my dad, and he was like, oh, well, I don't blame him. That sounds tough. And I was like, yeah, I get it. And it was just so fucking weird. Like, I was just, like, never in my life had I wanted to, like, get in an exam as fucking much as I did, like, then.
Why did you decide to tell that particular stuff?
I don't know. I really don't know. My brain was just like, yes, that is smart, Sarah. You do you, honey.
Correct one.
That is correct answer. Like, I mean, honestly, like, I don't know. I just, But yeah, and he really wanted to start, and he was like, we can divide it into thirds. 15 minutes we talk about art. Another 15 minutes. Why does my dad talk like a gay architect? I don't know. 15 minutes we talk about food. Another 15 minutes we talk about, culture, TV shows, and movies. And I was just like, okay. And he was like, what should we call it? I was like, oh, haha, how are we going to record it? We don't have microphones. He was like, well, I'll use your brother's microphone. And it was so weird, dude. It was so weird. I was like, what is going on? What, Like, I think this was his way of saying, hey, I know you're doing a secret plot podcast with Sophie, and I want to be involved. I don't know. I don't think he does. I don't think he knows. I don't think he does, to be honest.
But that's like, it's so weird. Like, sometimes, like, my parents or, like, my brother will say stuff that, like, I've done or like, I haven't mentioned to them. But, like, I've mentioned to them. Yeah,
and you're like, wait, how the fuck do you know?
Yeah, and I'm like, what the... Do I have, like, fucking, like, bugs in my head?
Literally, it's so unsettling. Like, there was this one time when I thought, like, my dad was reading, like, my fucking phone notes, and I couldn't figure out how he would. Because he was talking to me about, like, stuff that was really related to, like, stuff I was thinking then. And I was like, what? I was like, Mom, is Dad spying on me? And, okay, I don't know if it's the same for you, but I think the reason I'm, like, weird and paranoid that, like, my parents bug me is because when I was younger, my mom wanted to get me and my brother to behave. She would tell us that my dad has video cameras all around the house.
Yeah.
And when she was, like, when she first told me that, he doesn't, but when she first told me that, I was, like, 2.5 or something, I was literally looking everywhere around the house, and I was like, you're lying, there are no cameras. And she was like, no, they're hidden. But yeah, and I was like, Mom, I genuinely believed that. Like, even up until I was, like, 15, I thought that maybe, like, there's cameras freaking everywhere. Yes. So I don't know, like, maybe your parents, like, said the same kind of shit. Like, maybe that's why we're so paranoid.
Cameras, like, in our house.
Oh.
In Dubai. Like, only downstairs, yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I thought that my dad had, like, everywhere bugged. It was so weird. And, like, when I told him that, I was like, when I was, like, I didn't want to say up until I was, like, 16 or whatever. But I was like, yeah, when I was younger, I thought that. He was like, oh, haha. How do you know I don't? And I was like, Jesus.
Haha.
Haha. Yeah, that's how my dad talks, by the way.
That's how he laughs.
Oh my god, he called me, just like an ending note, but I just have to, like, get this, but he just called me today and he was, like, so excited and happy, and I was like, oh my god, what happened? And, like, he was talking, he was like, I got a divorce. No, I'm joking, he didn't say that.
What the fuck?
I'm joking, he didn't say that. He was like talking to me and he was, like, so excited, and I was like, what happened? He was like, you're not gonna believe this. I was like, what happened? He's like, I got an email from the Super Enlata website. I was like, okay. He was like, and it was like, come get your winnings. So he went home from a party. He literally took a taxi, leaving my mom, like, abandoning her at this party, to go home on his laptop to check how much he'd won. And he literally got a taxi, went home, opened his laptop, and turns out he won €5.
Oh my.
And he was like, they sent me an email. And I was like, Jesus, Dad, you have a problem. I didn't say that, I thought it. But, like, I don't know, it was so funny. It was so funny. It just sounded like, I don't know, like he won, like, in Fortnite or something. Like, it was so pure. Sorry, that was it. That was the exciting story. You were saying something.
No. Oh, I was just saying, like, when we were, like, imitating your dad's laugh, I was like, I don't think I remember last time my dad laughed. That's it.
Oh. Oh, no.
Like, no, I just don't remember how he laughed. That was the only thought that crossed my mind.
That's morbid. That's a little morbid.
Yeah.
Great coffee. Oh, this episode, well, it's not sponsored, but guys, if you want some good coffee, then DM your information to us, to me specifically on my Instagram, at the Curly Martini, from this place called Young Cup Coffee. They have great coffee. In Italy, they ship to Europe and to Dubai as well. So if you guys want some good quality coffee and you want to help out the channel, I just make 3% from like the sales that I do, but it's gonna go towards the channel. So if you guys want some amazing, like, listen to this. Oh, that's good coffee. Oh, I just spilled it on myself. Fucking advertising goals. But yeah,
like, is it beans or is it like already
coffee beans? But you can also get them like
coffee
ground.
Beans, but it's okay.
You can get them ground as well. I like my beans whole. So many options. You can get like different kind of grounds, but they do have like great beans. I've ordered from them like 3 times already. The people who run it are like really nice. They're really cool. Check out their Instagram at Young Cup Coffee. This was like the longest ad read. If we ever get sponsors, like, we need to learn how to do better ad reads.
Yes.
We need to write something in advance. This was like really spontaneous. I just remembered it because I took a sip from my coffee. But yes, Young Cup Coffee. Good coffee straight to your doors. That's
good
a wrap.
Coffee. Nice.
Good coffee, nice. That's it. There we go. Good coffee, comma, nice. Full stop. So yeah, so do let us know. DM me at the Curly Martini if you want some Young Cup coffee beans. Really great stuff. They also have like mugs and brewing gear and everything. And we are Okay Martini. I am Martini and
I'm okay. And
she's okay. She doesn't want to talk. I'm okay. No, thank you.
I need to come up with a brand name.
What's your brand? Okay. I thought it was Blin.
I have no idea. Blin, yeah, but like...
Blin?
Blin.
Where is Stalin
Blin.
to eat my blin?
Blin. Like, all the blins are taken on its
All the blins are taken. Oh my god.
All the blins are taken.
That's your brand name? What are you selling?
No, I'm kidding.
Don't say pancakes.
I'm selling graphic design.
You're selling graphic design. I'm selling the total concept of graphic design. I am boxing it and shipping it to your doors.
Aesthetics.
I'm selling aesthetics. I call it aesthetics. I'm going out to a friend's birthday tonight, and I don't even know, man. Yeah, I haven't like socialized properly in like so long.
Dude, I need to go out.
Come over. We'll go together. He said we can bring anyone we want along.
Okay.
Hey, can you postpone the party for like 3 hours?
I need to get on a fucking train.
Sorry, 3.5 hours. Assuming it's just gonna take you 30 minutes to find a train ticket and get on the train. Wouldn't that be the dream? But yeah.
It's like 3 hours though.
No, 2.5, right? 2.
No, it's like a 2, yeah, 2. Like an hour 45 minutes, I think.
I have no idea, honestly.
Anyways.
Oh. You sort of disconnected. We may as well say goodbye now.
Okay,
We just been like...
bye.
This was a fun episode, to be honest. Bye, guys.
Yes.
Thanks for listening. Boom. Mic drop. Boom.